Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Karuta Peru Club. This is Karuta Chat. And today we are here with Shannon Roberts. So, Shannon, hello. Can you introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Yes, of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Shannon Roberts. I live in Quebec City in Canada.
Perfect. And tell me, when did you start playing Kyogi Karuta? When did it all started? When did it happen and how?
Yeah. Well, I was on maternity leave in 2019 when the third season of Chihayafuru started airing. And I was looking for something to keep me occupied while I was at home with my daughter. And I started watching this show and I thought, oh my God, this is so cool. Like it was love at first sight. The show really just really hit home for me and I thought like, well, I have to learn how to play this game.
Perfect. Yeah, it happened the same way for me too. So I understand completely. It's a great show. Like it really shows the passion for the sport, and it's contagious. It's really
Oh,
contagious.
yeah, really. And it's something that's so like it resembles like nothing that you know, and yet
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you connect to it like I should have known this. This was meant for me. Like it for me it really touches different aspects of things I like the Japanese culture, the
Mm.
Japanese language, uh, of course, the singing I think is really beautiful when they read the poems, and so
Yes.
for me it was really
Very poetic.
yeah, and it gets so many different aspects of things that I love already. So I thought, wow, that's amazing.
Yes. Okay, so for people that are in Canada that want to play, or people that are abroad and maybe are thinking in moving to Canada, is there any Karuta club in Canada?
Well, officially, I created with some people from Canada like
Oh.
an online club that we call Momiji no Kai because Canada, the emblem of our flag is the maple
Mhm.
leaf, and
Oh,
Momiji
okay.
are also it's a different kind of maple tree, but still, I thought it was nice to have that connection to the momijis that are uh, often referred to in the poems. So it's a really informal club. Right now, we only have 5 members, including myself, but we do meet every week or every other week online. We play matches through the app. We mostly play matches, but we also sometimes like practice reading poems. We do fudanagashi for people who haven't like learned all of the 100 poems. So we try to be a little bit creative, review our karuta knowledge, and talk about things we love.
Perfect. And for people who is listening to the podcast or on YouTube, you can write a comment if you want the exact address if you're in Canada, so you can join as well.
Yes, I would like that very much because when I started playing, I was looking, well, for people to play in person, and luckily enough, I found one person that's in Quebec City and also
Mm.
plays.
Mhm.
So I've played a few matches in person, but most of my experience has been playing on the app. And as you may know, Canada is a very, very wide
Yes, it
country.
is. Mhm.
So if somebody's in Vancouver, we have different time zone, but if people are in Quebec or Ontario or near that, or if they're willing to adjust to our meeting time, then we're really friendly. We like to help people get into the hobby. If they
Mhm.
like, we can provide a little bit of guidance. Although online, there are other groups that have more experience, players that have played in Japan and such. So I try my best to help people with the knowledge that I've gathered mostly online and through the Facebook group.
Yeah. So you mentioned weekly. Is that happens on weekends or is there a specific day?
Well,
Yeah.
everyone's been very nice adjusting to my schedule since I have two children. The
Mhm.
best time for me to play is once the kids are in bed. So we usually start at 7:30 on weekdays because the weekend is usually very busy.
Family
And
time. Yeah.
I've wanted to have like a fixed schedule, but everyone's so like spontaneous, like, oh, I can this day, and if some people can, well, they join, and others sometimes don't join. So it's as I say, it's like it's not a big commitment. It's just fun, and you don't have to stress out. You just get in touch with us if you're interested, and we'll see if we can meet your interest and meet online.
Yeah. No, but still, it's amazing that you started it. And it's amazing that the members are adjusting to your time. Perfect. Yeah, that's difficult sometimes. And tell us, how did you start learning the poems? Because some people are in these beginning levels and are have difficulties in this.
Yeah, well, watching Chihayafuru, something that really like struck me was what Harada Sensei used to say, that learning the poems, it's like making 100 friends. And
Yeah.
that for me is so, so true. And I feel that the poems, like when I started learning them, the first thing I did is I read all of the Kimariji and the beginning of the second half of the poem, and I was looking for words or sound that made sense to me. So I just started learning with the ones that I had a stronger connection with. Like, for example, I'm a very big Game of Thrones fan. So for me, Arya was easy to memorize, and I also memorized Imako because of the second part that is Arya. So for me, that was like, okay, those cards are going to be engraved in my memory just because it's something that I'm very passionate about. So I did a first like run through, and I said I have to learn this card, this card, this card, this card, this card, and then after that I kind of went for the group. Like I had a card that I really liked, and then I started looking the group that were also in the same group with the cards. So that really it made it fun for me. Actually, I really enjoyed learning the poems, and I did it like quite quickly. I think it was within a month I had all the cards memorized, just because I was so passionate, and I was doing Fudanagashi on the app, and I made flashcards. I would review my flashcards, and I would listen to Chihayafuru, and then I would like, oh, this card is this card, and then so it all like tied it up together for me, learning the poems.
That was amazing. And especially when you mentioned Game of Thrones, because I'm a huge fan as well. I read all the books, and yet I have never made a connection with the point Arya with Arya.
Oh, for me, and I've been quite creative, and I think maybe a lot of people do that, because I have one of the member from Momiji no Kai is very good with mnemonics, like the things that sound like close to what they would be, but like sometimes I was going very, very far just to make a connection to a card that I had a lot of trouble like memorizing. So sometimes you just have to be creative and find a way to make it make sense in your brain, and then you talk to other people and you're like, yeah, I know I'm weird, I have like this weird association. Like for me, Fu, I used to watch Magic Knight Rare, so there's a character named Fu Ouji. So I was like, oh, I like that card because it reminds me of this character in that anime that I saw like years ago. So yeah.
Totally get it. Okay, so you love learning the poems, yes, but what was the hardest thing then when about learning Kyogi Karuta?
Well, still to this day, for me, the hardest part is actually like the physical techniques. Like people talk about blocking cards, like, and just like I did practice swing a little bit, but when you're alone in your basement by yourself, you're just kind of like, oh, like, do I look weird going all out and like swinging all those cards into the wall? And so for me, like having been most of the time alone practicing with myself, I don't feel like it feels natural enough yet to move to like to go for a card and come back, like the different cross strokes and things like that. For me, it's like it's something that I wish, you know, there was like a club that I could have joined, that I would have had a teacher that would have teach me all of these different taught me all of these different techniques and how to like take the cards gracefully and things like that. But I feel like if I get to practice more in person, it will become a little bit more normal, less like awkward. I remember one of the first games that I played in person, I was so stressed. Like I took a card, but it wasn't the right card. And then I reached out like with my other hand. And I'm like, that's the basic thing. You don't play with both hands. You just play with one hand. So yeah, like just playing on the app on the phone is very different from playing in real life with an adversary. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you love learning poems and you struggle with still the proper skills about playing, actually playing. Then can you share us how did you learn to play? Because some people struggle with this. Where do I find the resources? So how did you find all the poems? How did you start learning and how did you learn how to properly play? All those things.
Well, the first thing that I did, I found the handbook, I think it's called, like with the rules and the manners and of course the kimariji, the index for all of the vocabulary. I just typing it in Google. I found it in French, which I found was very interesting because they have it in different language. They have it in French, in English, they have it in Thai, I think, and other languages. So that is like, for me, it's my Bible. Like I still have, I think it's over here, like my copy.
Yes, show us.
Like I printed it out, like probably this looks familiar to you guys. So like the fact that your head shouldn't like go beyond the imaginary line in the middle. So I read this quite a lot. And then I found online like a way how to do your teichi.
Yes.
And that for me was another very interesting part because you have all of the cards and then you like group them and you place them where you feel they should be. And then after that, it really improves your speed and your memorization, because when you know like where each card is, it becomes much more natural and much more interesting to go ahead and attack. So I read the rules and I watched Chihaya and I learned like it's funny because it's an anime, but most of the knowledge that you gain from watching the show is actually things that are accurate. The reflections that you have about like how to improve yourself, what are your weaknesses, which character do you identify to, like what would be your strong suit and your weaknesses. And after that, I don't know if you see it, but I have a phone map and there's like the drawing to place the cards.
Yes, because I think I can see some lines.
Yeah, some lines, like the two big blocks in the middle where you place your cards. So that for me was a fun thing to do, to draw the lines on the phone, just to be able to place the cards and see like, okay, so this is 87 centimeter, and you know, doing the the thing where you place and you measure with your arm every time. That for me is still something I'm not very used to. So in a tournament, you don't want to slow down people, and I'm like, I'm not very fast. I'm gonna be struggling just to place my cards. So I use a little bit cheat there. But yeah, and of course there's the app on the phone, which helps you, remember the poem, get used to hearing different readers. Yeah, so it was mostly all done by myself with love and passion of Karuta. And the other thing that really, really helped me is the online Karuta Facebook group practice club that I joined early, like when COVID put everything on lockdown and I couldn't even play with the person that was near me. Well, I joined the community, and then I learned that other people outside of Japan were playing, and that it was a group for English speakers, and yeah, that everyone was very nice. They had so many interesting tips, knowledge. Some people are even translating articles and things like that. So for me, that was really really fun, because I also like learning about the meanings of the poem, and there's just so much like wealth of knowledge and culture in Karuta. So I was kind of just having fun, learning, and doing it a bit awkwardly in my own basement. So I don't know what's going to happen, like if I join a tournament, but it'll be fun to see where do I rank, like next to people that have been in a club regularly, have been receiving guidance from a sensei and stuff like that. But as long as you're having fun, right?
Yes, totally. And we can totally see also the creativity, because you, for example, I see that you don't really have a tatami for practicing,
I
but
do have
somehow you
one.
adjusted. Really, you do also.
Yeah,
oh my goodness,
but it's stored away. It's like too precious. So I only take it out for special occasion. But yeah, when I started, I made my flashcards because I didn't receive my cards yet. So yeah, and it's nice to see that you can still start playing even though you don't have the whole material, and you just you use creativity.
Yes, totally. Okay. Yeah, and you mentioned an important thing about having a placement, because it makes you quicker also. Because, for example, I don't know if it's going to see here. I don't think, but I also have my placement.
Yeah, very important.
I have it printed out because when I started, of course, I always watch Chihayafuru, but now I watch it differently. Like now I watch it with the placement by my side. So every time there's a match during Chihayafuru during the anime, I'm just like swinging, swinging, swinging when I hear a poem, and sometimes I get like with no movement at all, and then I watch this and see where was it, and then I see the poem. So it actually makes me practice more. So when I have like long time, weeks no playing, not even with the app, I feel bad. So I watch during my lunchtime to Hayafuru, but with my placement by my side.
That's great.
So I can still, because you forget so easily. You do.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's so true. But the placement, it's very nice, and when you have it, you like. I remember watching Chihayafuru, and at some point, they show someone's placement, and when they play, you see where the cards are, and sometimes I'm like, oh, this person places this card on the same side that I do, and I'm like, oh wow, that's so nice. So it gives it a different flavor.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Do you have any tips for the ones who wants to start with Kyogi Karuta, besides the one you gave us already, of course, very valuable?
Well, yeah, I think joining a community is gonna be the main thing. I hope that people that start playing are in areas where there are clubs that meet in person, because as much as I love playing on the app, when I actually played in person, I realized why people that were used to playing in person don't like the app. Like, I'm a really big fan of the app. I think it looks great. I think it's fun. But when you taste the real thing, it's like, oh, okay, the app is fun, but playing in person, like, there's nothing quite like it. So if you have a club near you, you can join the local club if you're lucky enough. If not, online, there are groups that you can join that are very, very helpful. And other tip, I think, if you're interested, in reading about people that have more experience, that are in the field, it's always nice. But I think in Chihaya, they say that a lot, like to develop your own style, to understand like your own way of playing. I think that's also very important to try to figure out, are you stronger with one syllable cards, or on the contrary, you're very bad like me at short syllable cards. I'm better at the longer ones. So, and when you start, trying to improve yourself in different areas, I think it's all fun and you can improve yourself. And I think that's the only tip that I would have.
And it's perfect. Yeah, and everyone is different, because I hear most of the time the opposite, like, right? Most people say that their weakness is the long cars, right? The one for long syllables.
Yeah.
So yeah, each one is different. And you mentioned that you use the app as well, especially when you had no club. So do you want to talk about the app? What do you like about it? Some tips, some insights?
Yes, of course. I feel that a lot of people use the app and they don't know all of the features within the app. Since I was alone with the app like for a few months before I joined the Facebook group, I've looked a lot into it. So you can play against the computer, you can play a ranked match. Of course, one of the downside of the app is if you're playing a ranked match, you have to rank with someone else that's also waiting for a ranked match. Sometimes it can be a bit long, but one of the advantages that when you're waiting, you can do fudanagashi, which is like the mini game where you get the cards and you just swipe them and you name them and you try to do it like as fast as possible. So that's very nice. That's one of the features that I love about the app. There's also the branching where they show you like you're gonna have Shira and Shino, and then you're gonna have to get the good one as fast as you can. But when you play ranked match, I know not a lot of people play ranked match, but you get statistics on each card. How many times you've taken the card, how many times you've lost the card, what is your average speed for every single card. And that's just very interesting, because when you start playing, you know which card you like, which card you don't like, but sometimes you're not necessarily taking the cards that you like because people are also good at the cards that you like. Like Chiha, for example, is very hard to take because everyone wants to take Chia. So then you're looking at your statistic and you're thinking, oh, okay, maybe I need to review the A cards more, or oh, I'm good with the longer cards. So there's a lot of things that you can learn from the app. I like the fact that the background changes with the season. So in winter, you're going to have a nice winter background. And in fall, you have the beautiful like the red trees, and yeah, it's just gorgeous. They have cat stickers that are very nice. I love all of the readers. I've unlocked them with coins because when you win matches, you can get coin to get more stickers or more readers. And I'm like, this is Karuta stuff. Take my money. So, and of course you can play, this is something that I love about the app, is the beginner's card. You can go into the setting and you can check it it so that the kimariji are on the card like in Romaji, like in the alphabet that we know, like for English speakers and French speakers and things like that. So I was able to play with my best friend who didn't know anything about Karuta, because he checked the beginner's card. I explained to him, when you hear that sound, you tap the card as fast as you can. And we had a lot of fun. I was like, oh my God, I'm playing Karuta with someone who like has no background, no idea. But yeah, that's really fun. And for beginners, like I remember the first time I played a ranked match and the joka started, like the introduction poem was read. My heart was beating so fast. It was like insane. I'm like, oh my God, I'm really playing Karuta. And I was there with my phone. And I'm like, oh my God, I hope I'm not going to embarrass myself. And of course, my first match, I lost. And I embarrassed myself. But, you push through and, you have fun.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing, because I've never played a rank match in the app because I'm so scared. But you really give me motivation to do it because of the statistics. So yes, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, do you have any specific exercise because of Kyogi Karuta? Because I haven't played in real life. I really haven't had a chance. So, for example, I know that it's tiring because it's hard on the knees. So, can you share us about that experience of playing in real life, and if you do anything?
I wish I have more time to really do exercise. I remember I was watching Chihayafuru sitting in Seiza just to get used to sitting in the proper position and maintaining that position. So I did that for time. Like I did practice swings with the cards, to get a good feel of it. But like I haven't really gotten to the point where I have a routine or I have specific exercise. And I think that's something that is like one of the advantage of having like a real established club that meets, I don't know, once or twice a week, that has like a more detailed program. I feel like this is something that I'm lacking. And when I started playing, I used to play every day on the app, maybe sometimes twice a day on the app. Now I've started like trying to learn Japanese, so I'm investing a lot of time in that. So I keep playing Karuta, but it's not as intense as it was. And but I hope that, as things get better with COVID, that we can meet in person, and hopefully I'll find a motivation to be a little bit more physically involved in Karuta, because the app is great for the mind, the brain, but it doesn't help you so much for your body, which is a very important factor when you're actually playing Kyogi Karuta. So yeah, so don't be like me. Go and get physical.
All right. And do you have a special routine for Karuta in general? So let's say you wake up in the morning, you do fuda nagashi, then in the afternoon, or it's just you go with the flow?
Well, as I mentioned, like we do have the regular practice that's once a week or once every other week. And when we do that, we usually do fudanagashi in the beginning. We play a few matches, but I think what I've been incorporating in my routine mostly lately is reviewing my teichi, my placement. For me, it's very, very important, because I'm like, when I go and play in a tournament, and I don't want to like place my cards and place them in the wrong order and then mess up the person's memorization. I'm like, I would feel so bad. So sometimes I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, shirashi no oe funatsu, and then I'm like swinging and I'm like trying to remember, and then I'm like, okay, on the other hand, sa se su, and then like just trying to like I have it down pretty well, but sometimes like I'm gonna be like, okay, this is a group, like there's kaku and kasa, but is kaku on the right or is it kasa on the right? So I'm trying to really get it like imprinted in my brain. So that's one of the things. But fudanagashi I do. I used to do it every day. Now I do it less often. But every now and then I'm just gonna go and try to do it one time slowly just to make sure like I remember the cards, and then one time fast to try to improve my my time. What else do I do? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Like the placement, the fudanagashi, and playing matches and reading sometimes the poem out loud. I had so many Karuta project, like learning the numbers of the poem. I had started and I was like, Akino, Harusu, Hashi, and then so on. But then I'm like, okay, I need to learn something else. And then I was like, I'm going to learn the whole poem. So a few poems I know like completely, but then it's just like, I wish I had more time, because it's really something that you can get into and invest lots and lots of time. But then when you do it like more like a hobby, for fun every now and then you're like, okay, this is the amount of time that I'm willing to really invest. And yeah, so you have to find things that motivate you. I think that's important.
Thank you. That's fantastic. And you know what I like so much is that each player does things differently. Because when I was hearing you, I noticed that you mentioned that for your placement, you go from one side and then to the other side, like dividing it. And I don't do it like that. I do it more like I don't know, I have like couples, let's say, and then like you and I have Yura, and because I know they're in this side in my placement, and then I go yo no naka y yo sé que yo tengo yo acá, and so on. So I go more like playing among the sides.
Okay.
And I have my placement really weird also, like when I hear Chiha, and I know she's here, and Taichi, I know he's here, right? So when I hear Tachi, and when I hear Hanano, I know that she's against Chihaya and Taichi, so Hanano is in the other side. It's here.
Oh wow!
So it's weird, like it's
It's, but when you decide your placement, it's like, okay, I have 100 cards and I have to find a place for all of them. And some of them you're going to feel very, very strongly about, like this card has to be like bottom row at the end, so it's easy, or it has to be closer. But, some of them are in the middle. And then when you're trying to remember them, you're trying like, I at some point was trying to make a story to memorize my poem. So like, I like to walk, and then there's a koi in the pond, and then oh god, like it makes sense to harder. You, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, definitely. For example, I have some like Fuku. I put it right in like say in the corner, because I imagine the wind, so he's farther away. Like stuff like that. And I think everyone does it differently, and everyone has a different story for each poem. So I think that's very, very interesting.
Yes. I agree 100%.
Yes. Okay, so to finish up, do you have a favorite poem or favorite poems? Because we all have many, but if you had to pick one, what would it be? Which one?
My poem is Mikano.
Ooh,
and the reason for that is very embarrassing.
Okay.
When I was in high school, we were doing like a website with a friend online, and we needed to have like nicknames for our website.
Mm-hmm.
And I chose
Okay.
Mikan for the website. And the reason is very simple. It's because my favorite color is orange. And Mikan is like
Okay.
an orange type of like fruit or something.
Okay. Just I have no idea what it is, so that's why I needed more context.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're gonna
okay.
see that
It's
like a
a fruit
box and it
orange.
says Mikan on it and it's
Uh-huh.
oranges. Like
Okay.
I don't know what kind or what, but for me, Mikan and orange, it was put together. And then when I
Mhm.
saw Mikano, I thought Mikano, that's my card. And that was it. And it's very funny because I'm very, very strongly attached to that card, and everyone in my club knows, and they're trying to take it from me. But I've gotten so fast. Like other cards, I'm not very fast, but that card, I remember I was playing in the online tournament, and I
Mhm.
was playing against the captain of another team. The first card
Mm.
that was read was Mikano. I took the card, and probably the person was like, wow, this person's very strong. But then I didn't take another single card from the match, but I took the first card that was read. It was Mikano, it was my card, and I took it. So yeah. And
That's
there's just so many other cards that I like, but yeah, there's just little like anecdotes that I have with
Mhm.
myself that don't make sense to anybody else other than me.
Perfect. Yeah, and that was a perfect story. A perfect story. With anecdotes, that's the best ones.
Yeah, well,
Those
it
are.
works. It works for me.
Okay, Shannon, thank you so much for being here. I know the audience totally appreciated. Your story was fantastic. And I hope to see you again in Karuta Chat.
Thank you for having me. I had a blast. I just enjoy talking about Karuta so much. And
Yes,
thank you for providing content in English because we need more of that.
definitely. We need more. Okay, thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Remember that Karuta Chat is available as podcast and on YouTube as well. Okay, so you can listen it in the background or you can watch in video format. Thank you so much.